Hello there, Internet. How's it going? Welcome back to the show. Thanks for clicking on this one. My name is Pat Dan, and today we are back with Reddit Gets Drawn Badly. We got IDFK-ALR, who asks, let's see what y'all cook up. Collection of images here of this sly grin on this sweet-looking gentleman. Not to discredit his other features. I think, he's sweet as much as he is hardened and intimidating and awesome in any capacity. All the possible complimentary words you could say, I think, apply to this gentleman right here. But I think that final picture, it does have a little bit of a sauce to it, so to speak. I am a bit of an enjoyer of what I'm seeing there. So I figured we'd give it a shot. You may have thought to yourself, hey, Pat Dan, what's going on? Where were the MS Paint videos? You kind of left me hanging. We were missing you. No one was thinking that, I know, but allow me to straw man myself into thinking people are missing me. I had a bit of a, drawing tablet, death. Very, very sad. Held a memorial, buried it, in its rightful place in the ground. Just, you hate to see it. You really do. Because, a drawing tablet to an artist is kind of like a pet to a normal human being. At least for me. I kind of saw it as this living creature that just, took up a place in my life, and it's sad to have to let go. So the drawing tablet that I had been rocking with for 6 years or something, 6 or more, I think at least. 6 is the minimum, probably closer to 7, maybe. I don't know. The XP Pen Artist 12 Pro. For those of you who know anything about XP Pen tablets, I'm sure that hearing that little, reference to something you're familiar with got you really excited. But for those of you not familiar, the XP Pen Artist 12 Pro is a pretty old device. Not exactly top of the line technology. Basically, for those of you who don't know anything about drawing tablets, they are ranked by quality, pretty much based on a couple factors. The first one being the levels of pressure sensitivity. Of course, with a drawing tablet, the main point of interest, I was going to say the main draw, but I think that would have been repetitive. The main thing that people are looking for when purchasing a new tablet, or maybe buying an old one, is that it has, sufficient levels of pressure sensitivity to aid your drawing process and make everything as paper-like as possible. The other thing people might look for is, things like resolution and size. Those are really the main heavy hitters, right? Now, the Artist 12 Pro, as you might have guessed by the name, is a 12-incher, a little silly 12-inch companion to your drawing experience. Not super large. And you may be thinking 12 inches, that sounds like the perfect size. Isn't paper typically 12 inches? Letter size paper is 12 inches. That seems like a good size, right? And hey, I wouldn't fault you for thinking that, but there is a little bit of nuance to the issue, right? And this is my advice for those of you looking to purchase a tablet of your own, maybe, or, I just want to yap, quite honestly. So just hear me out and allow me to do that just for a second. Let me just take a moment of your time real quick. But if you are looking for a drawing tablet and you've never had a screen tablet before, I will recommend do not get a 12-incher if you have the capability of upgrading to something larger within your budget. I think while 12-inch tablets seem great on the surface, you quickly realize that Windows UI in most applications takes up the vast majority of that 12 inches. And you're left with what? Maybe, if you're lucky, 5 inches of the canvas to work on. 5 inches isn't too bad until you get down, rough and dirty, and you're really trying to do details at a far glance. That is when you kind of start noticing, hey, maybe this thing isn't as big as I need it to be. So, anyone who's not used a drawing tablet before and is maybe interested in purchasing one, that is my advice. Thank you for indulging me. But I have now upgraded from the Artist 12 Pro to something much fancier. The Artist 16 Pro Gen 2, I think this is around $4 3 or 4 years old. So not the newest tech, but basically up to snuff with the newest tech. Like the drawing tablet sphere doesn't really innovate that much. So it's pretty much, in my humble opinion, up to par with what you might be getting. And it is a 16-incher. So very awesome. I was very excited. I may have, been giddy like a schoolboy on Christmas Day to receive this. But don't tell anyone, because that's a little bit embarrassing. I don't want people knowing that I have emotions. As a man in today's society, I'm not allowed to express emotion. We know this. This is clearly outlined in the handbook. So I'm following it to the T. Anyway, I thought I'd give you guys that quick little update. That's why I didn't record a video, because my tablet kind of shat itself. And it was a very, very saddening experience. I said that I gave it a good send-off, but I'm going to have to level with you here. I'm going to have to tell you the truth. I did not give it a send-off at all. I kind of just put it in the box of the new tablet and set it away to live somewhere else. So maybe, just maybe, we'll have to give it a good send-off later on. Send in your ideas. I'm thinking, old school medieval trumpet fanfare. Perhaps like mixing in a little different cultural elements. I'm thinking like Viking sea burn burial. You know in the movies, like how the Vikings will send dead bodies off to the sea and like burn it with flaming arrows. I don't know what movie I saw that in, but I don't know. It seems like a real thing people would do. So that sounds exciting. And regardless of whether anyone else has done it before, I'm going to do it now. So I'm setting the trend, setting the bar very high. Let me know if you guys want me to film that. I'm going to do it no matter what, but I mean, I guess I could film it. I don't know. You guys are too content brained. Like I just want to do things for the fun of it and enjoy my life. That's like really, quite simply put, all I ask for in this life of mine. This sweet, sweet life of mine. So I'm going to do as I please there. I did actually see something that was very interesting. As you well know, probably, or you don't, I'm a fan of a particular music artist. This music artist goes by the name Quadeca. He is quite the silly, silly individual. And he makes some exceptional music, really. I think he is my all-time favorite, my all-time GOAT as of today's date. Which is a little embarrassing to say because he's kind of a lame freakazoid, but it's okay. It's okay. We do not care. We are not embarrassed of the things that are true about us. That's not true. I'm very embarrassed of everything about me. Sorry, I don't need to spill my guts here. You're not my therapist. Let me tell you about the Quadeco Reddit post that I saw when I was scrolling on his Reddit page. Yes, I scroll on the Quadeco Reddit on occasion. Okay, call me a fucking freak. I don't care anymore. I'm done justifying my day-to-day actions to you. You don't know anything about me, okay? Just shut up and listen to the story. You keep interjecting and it's getting me crazy. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I saw this post on the Quadeca subreddit and I thought, I'd give you a little look at it. Basically, it's talking about like Quadeca's family, right? Quadeca grew up with a family, as I'm sure, you may have guessed. I don't know. Maybe you didn't, but he did grow up indeed with a family. And this family is composed or includes, I wouldn't say exclusively composed of, but includes his father, Mitch Lasky, as you can see by the information hidden within the post. And this, this Mitch Lasky individual, this odd fellow, he is like I guess a multi-millionaire. And the guy has, some money. Apparently, I think he's been working in the games industry or something. I don't know. I'm very parasocial. Okay, I've really grown to be extremely parasocial. Don't do this. Don't learn information about people you don't know online. But it's a burden I must bear. I'll do it for the rest of you. Okay, I'll do it for everyone else. And this post is kind of like, hey, wait, is Quadeca like a nepo baby? Like his dad is freaking rich as heck. Like, what is the deal? And then the comments are like, discussing it. They're like, bro, bro probably utilized his dad's status to get connections in the industry. Like, he's had a lot of cool features. Kevin Abstract, Danny Brown, famed indie artists of, music fame. I don't know why I repeated myself there. Okay, I'm bad at speaking. Just let me do my thing. All right. Anyway, some people were like, hey, does this like take away from his art? And the argument that I saw kind of echoed a lot was this idea of like, no, he did not get a significant boost from this, right? Like, the reason that his art is valuable is because of the skill, the thought that he put behind it. And that is not changed by the fact that his dad was, potentially rich, and he grew up in a very well-off house in a well-off neighborhood. Like, that doesn't change the fact that the music is good and the music speaks for itself. This I agree with, and I can say, good take, grand old take, wonderful. Quadeca subreddit, you've outdone yourself. One thing that I think this reminded me of, though, like a little interesting factoid or topic of conversation that this made me kind of think on, was this idea that indie artists have the ability to blow up only if they're put in a position of privilege where their parents can support them and they don't have to worry about things like food, housing, money, and they can just create. Like, I think this is something we all know, right? Me saying this, you're probably like, oh my God, stop fucking condescending me, you freak. I know how society works. Art is a clear indicator of a wealthy society, right? We know this. We've been in history class. I took freaking 8th grade AP history. I know how this works, okay? Shut up. You are dumb and get off my screen, okay? I know that's what you're saying right now, and you're right. You are entirely right. I agree. But I think, for me personally, I never really sat down and thought about the fact that in the modern day, this applies like specifically to a household by household basis, right? Like, the vast majority of people, I don't think, have the ability to say, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to just like sit at home all day and make music. Like, that's not something necessarily everyone has the capability of doing. And not necessarily everyone had the privilege of like learning an instrument when they were 5 years old, or their, parents buying them a MIDI keyboard, right? I had this conversation earlier today with a good friend of mine, and we kind of discussed like what makes art have merit. And the really true and honest answer is, it has nothing to do with where you came from. It can, like, where you came from can have an impact on the art, and of course it should, but it doesn't make or break your artistic expression. If you came from a place of poverty, you can still make art. It's just a lot harder. And, when we think about this, I think we can really look very closely at like the rap scene. Hip hop, I think, is a huge, huge area in which people from impoverished backgrounds can rise it to the top, and they can become as famous as someone who, like Claro, whose dad works at Pepsi or whatever. Like, even though they didn't have the resources that someone like Claro might have had, they had the drive built in. And I think that, I just thought that was an interesting thing to think about, because I think a lot of people, especially I'd like to think older generations, have this mindset of like, oh, hip hop's dumb, there's no value to it. But I think a big point of value for hip hop that I wasn't really able to verbalize until, I was reading this Quadeca subreddit post is the fact that, people who make it and came from the very lowest low are kind of more impressive, not in some ways, not in every way, right? Obviously, everyone has their own merits, but in some ways more impressive than people who did not. And that's like the beauty of rap, right? And I actually wanted to make a video about this kind of idea. I had, filmed it and kind of scripted something, but it got canned because it took too long to edit, and I'm freaking lazy, okay? So be it. I'm a lazy guy, whatever, that's just how the cookie crumbles. But I guess I can still talk to you about it in a non-scripted fashion. I listened to the Baby Keem album Casino when it came out a while ago. So, this video was attempted to be made a long time ago, as you can tell. But in the Casino documentary that Baby Keem released, called Boo Man, I think, it goes over like how Baby Keem came up and how people often think because he's Kendrick Lamar's cousin, his, artistic value is less than if he had naturally risen to fame without the aid of his cousin, which I think is a valid thing to think. But I also think that this conversation around Quadeca sparked some interest in me because I was like, hey, why don't we talk about this more? Like, you'd think this would be talked about more if it's such a prevalent thing that happens. And I honestly, truly think it does have to do with the fact that Quadeca is a white passing boy. I don't know what his heritage is, but he obviously looks white. And he may or not be. I'm not entirely sure about that factoid. I need to study up. Didn't do enough research on that one, but I'll come back to you when I have more info. I'll do a little Wikipedia scouring. I have my sources as well. But anyway, I thought that was very, very interesting. The idea that you're allowed to be critical of people if they make rap music, which, typically people of color. You're not allowed to be critical of people who make, indie rock. No one's going out and saying, hey, you have less merit because your dad was rich. If you're white, no one's going to say that because they're like, yeah, you're white, it's just the way it is. But when the tables are turned suddenly, Baby Keem, his cousin is a rapper and everyone's like, dude, you suck. I just think it's a weird thing to think about. And I feel like I'm always uncomfortable discussing those kinds of things because I feel culturally very white. And sometimes I forget, I'm not a white boy at heart. My DNA would say otherwise. Though the way I present myself and my vocal tone and my general demeanor might suggest otherwise, I am, in fact, not of the pale variety. It's a weird way to say that, but you get the point. You understand what I'm trying to say here. So yeah, just wanted to toss that one out there. See what you guys thought about it, because I think it's an interesting conversation point. So those are the kinds of things I think about, the kinds of twisted things that go on in my head. You want to see what I'm all about? Freaking try it, man. You wouldn't last a day in here. It's a nightmare up there. You know what else I've been listening to from Quadeca recently? He is on an album rollout, so go peep that. He is currently rolling out his new album Life One. Did already buy tickets to the tour. Very excited about that. But I have been on a brief stint of an old pastime of mine, which is listening to his album I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, released a little bit ago. It's kind of ancient at this point in internet terms, but it's had a resurgence in my heart, and I thought, you know what, who cares if the people think it's dead? I am still on the Haunt You train. So I've been doing a little Haunt You listening, and I've been doing a little, silly, goofy activity, and I've realized it is a pretty good album. Better than I remember. It's a very deep and crazy album. For those of you who don't know Haunt You, you're gonna think I'm an insane person when I describe this right now, but it's probably gonna make you want to listen to it. So, Haunt You is an album. It's a concept album, and it's kind of presented in a movie-like fashion. It's very a cinematic album. I feel like you don't typically describe music as, actually that's not true. You can describe music as cinematic, and this is one of those cases. I would describe it as a very, very, very cinematic piece of work. It really feels like, to me personally, like I'm watching a movie. It's about this guy who dies, and he is haunting his mom, who is mourning his death. And over the course of the album, you slowly learn more and more about this situation that he's in. And there are some insane things that happen. He does indeed slaughter his own mother. Okay, slaughter's a strong word. I'm sorry. Hang on. I take that one back. He doesn't slaughter anybody. Okay, he's a nice guy. Kodaka's a nice guy. Okay, sorry. I mean, everybody's always on his case. I got to speak out against him. I love. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not that parasocial. I'm not that. Okay, maybe just a little bit, but it does. Fuck you. Okay, let me have my fun. He basically turns on the stove in his mom's house to carbon monoxide poison her, so that he can meet her as a ghost, which, if you listen to the album, maybe doesn't go his way. I think you should give it a listen. I think it's a sweet, sweet little ride. Very emotional roller coaster type beat. Listen to it and pull up the lyrics on your phone and pretend like it's dialogue in a movie. That is how I think it is best enjoyed. So, do with that information what you will. I'd really appreciate it if you left a little comment talking about how much you loved it, because I really like Quad, and no one ever wants to talk about him with me. I don't know. I'm on a Quad stint, so I'm really obsessed right now, but soon enough, I think I'll be over it. So if you leave a comment too soon in the future, I might have no idea what you're talking about. Quad? I don't know. I don't know this guy. Get this guy out of my chat. I don't know who Quad. Sorry, that was kind of a. Okay, I don't want to admit this because it was very bad, but that was kind of my attempt at a Joe Bart impression. Stop throwing tomatoes. Stop throwing tomatoes. Okay, I know it was bad. You don't got to reinforce that fact. I'm very aware. If I'm the first one to criticize myself, just keep your tomatoes. Maybe donate them to a homeless shelter, bro. Like, there's better places to expend that resource. I think you and I both know that well. All right. Sorry. Sometimes I just get ahead of myself, and the fantasies start rolling out. I have a world in my head that's just rolling, world simulation, much like a Dwarf Fortress save file that's just constantly running in my head of this alternate reality where everyone hates me. I think some people call it social anxiety, but I don't really believe in any of that. All that mumbo jumbo about mental. Back in my day, nobody had mental health. That wasn't a thing that existed back in my day. So I really, quite honestly, don't think. I don't think it's real. Anyway, my own personal beliefs aside, I was scrolling on TikTok the other day, and I had a thought occur to me, right? I had a brief idea pop into my head about a video that I saw. I realized something, as I sometimes do, not very frequently, but on occasion I'll have a realization, right? An epiphany from heaven above, or whatever whatever it is. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But this epiphany was quite strong. I realized something life-changing about content, something that will forever alter your perception of the way that you view things on TikTok and other short-form platforms. Have you, okay, I'm going to ask a question real quick, so be ready to answer. Have your pens and paper out ready. Do not speak, or you will flunk the test. I'll assume you're cheating off your table partner, and that will not be good news for you or me, because they're going to most certainly crack down on me for the amount of failures that have been happening in this class. Everyone is flunking my class, and I can't tell you why. Do I teach the material? No, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm sorry I'm getting off track. You guys are a naughty class. You always freaking derail me. But sorry, I don't know what's happening to me. You need to tell me right now. Have you seen those videos where they have a Genius video? Genius is the famous musician interview outlet. I don't know if I'd call it an outlet, but you know what I'm trying to say. Famed interview platform Genius. And then they will play the interview and compare it to the live recording of the song. And then the caption says like, best auto-tune versus non-auto-tune singers. And it might say it in that exact like AI voice that I just did right there. Not that I'm AI. Okay, fuck. Okay, fine. You figured it out. I'm AI. Fuck. I don't want to have to tell you this way. I'm sorry. Please don't click off the video, okay? I hope we can mend this relationship. But these videos are pretty awesome because in the grand scheme, they are kind of the greatest thing ever. Like this is a video from, I don't know, like 2019, 2020 or something. I think it's actually, this video is from 2023. So I'm reaching to bolster my point. It is not from 2020. It's not from 2019. It's from 2020. It's from 2023. Okay. Fuck. You guys are always on my ass. Anyway, it's from 2023. And, it is a prime example of a video you will see in the modern day. How do I know this? Because I saw the exact same video. Actually, this might be the one from 2026. Here's the one from 2023. I fumbled a little bit, but my point is still made. Content hasn't changed at all in the genius sphere. And I think that this is in need of dire renovation. It's the exact same format. They've been doing it for years on end, and nobody has stopped to think maybe there's a better way to do this shit. Like they put it in a different format. It's no longer the grid. It's now the full screen interview. But why? What are we doing this for? We all know what the genius interview format is. Can we get someone on this? I am asking you really from the bottom of my heart. My audience is filled with great creators. I know. I don't know any of you. I've never spoken to any of you, but I assume you're a great creative mind because you have good taste in YouTube videos. So I really am asking you right now from the bottom of my heart, please go in there and do something different, innovate on the genius style because it's getting old. These are, and you know, not to pin it all on genius because genius genius ain't the people making these videos, but you know, they do have a hand in it as they did post the original. So, you know, I think they're somewhat to blame. They are somewhat to blame. Anyway, I just thought I'd ask you guys to help me out with that because it was a big issue I was having. You know, every time, I think maybe I'm the only one receiving these videos because they show up on my feed every single time I open shorts. And it's not very fun to see the same video over and over again because you know what? It's never different it's the same freaking singers. I get David on my feed singing his freaking song on Genius. I was going to say mass murderer. That's a very, that is a high exaggeration. Murderer, David, literal, like heinous killer, worst scum of the earth human being that you can find. Still getting videos of him on my feed on Genius. I don't want to hear from Dave. I don't want to speak about him. I was going to say speak to him. See what I'm saying about this parasocial thing. I got to get off the internet. Fuck. I'm devolving into a creature best unseen. You know, it would be much better if the people didn't have to endure me, but here I am on this planet to be endured. So, you know, enjoy me while I last. But I just think I've had enough of David, really, is the core root of the issue. Like, I'd be a little bit more fine with these videos if maybe they were presenting different singers to me. I get the same freaking three people every time. It's David, it's Benson Boone, and it's some freak, I think her name's Aurora, who does like a couple viral TikTok songs. You know, she's a great singer. I'm not trying to diss on Aurora. Her voice seems phenomenal. She seems like a great creator. It's just like, come on, man. I know you've had enough time on the Genius videos. Please take a break. And I know she doesn't choose to be put in the videos. She's probably as tired of them as I don't know. Jesus Christ. I'm a crazy freaking parasocial psychoanalyst. I need to see a therapist, man. This is my therapy, is really what this is. And I know you're aware. Like, I can tell that is very clear to you. Our relationship is not, you know, the most healthy. But that's okay. That's okay because it's okay because I say it's okay. It's okay because I said it was okay. And that's really the end of it. If you can't tell, I'm mighty energized. I'm trying to give you guys the best the best video today possible. And the metric by which I judge my videos is how excited was I? Was I screaming nearly enough? Did I yell at them about being a bad class at least one time? That's a very important criteria. If I don't do that, it's going in the can. The video's not getting posted. And, you know, was the portrait okay? That has kind of, if as you can tell, that criteria particularly has kind of fallen to the wayside in more ways than one. But I don't care much to remedy that at this point. You know, I'm less of an artist and more of a just, you know, yapping enthusiast. And I'm cool with, no, I'm not cool with, actually it makes me really upset. I cry myself to sleep every night because I don't think I'm a real artist. But, you know, that's besides the point. I don't need to tell you about my life. What about you guys? So you guys getting good sleep? I don't care. I was joking. I really don't care. Shut your trap. I saw you about to respond to my question. Don't do that. When I ask a question, you sit still. Don't open that. Okay, sorry. That was, you know what? That actually cringed me out a little bit. I don't like that I said that. So, you know, I do a lot of apologies, but this one's the most sincere. I'm sorry. From the bottom of my heart, I wronged you and all the people who maybe heard this video in the background. Please don't watch my videos out loud because I could say whatever I could say whatever I want right now, right? Like, especially if you're in the airport right now. Fuck, I could get you blasted out of there in 0.2 sec. Hey, Jimmy, how's it going? Yeah, we haven't talked in a while. Yeah. I totally think that your plan to explode everyone in the airport right now, phenomenal idea. Yeah, I've been backing that one since day. Let me know how it goes. You got the bomb in your carry-on right now, yeah? Yeah, concealed it so that the X-rays won't pick it up. Cool stuff, man. I'm glad I was able to help you out on that. Hey, is the remote detonator working out or oh, great, the field tests work. Phenomenal, you know? I will talk to you later, bro. I will talk to you later. Have a good time. Enjoy your flight. Wink, wink. You know, that's the kind of shit I'd be spouting on voice calls in the airport. Fuck me, dude. I'm a loser. I'm not like a fun kind of loser either. I'm just the kind of guy you wouldn't want around because it makes you sad to see him. You know, that's the kind of guy. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm dogging on myself so much. I don't actually think this poorly. I don't think this poorly of myself. I'm just trying to make jokes here, and self-deprecation is a quick way to humor. You know, it's an easy way to relate to the audience in a sort of way because many people feel as though they are inadequate. It's a common sentiment shared by many of us. It makes us human. Our self-awareness and ability to critique our own actions is something that many other intelligent creatures don't have the level of ability to do that we do. And I think that's really a beautiful thing. So, you know, don't be upset about the fact that you hate yourself. You should treasure it, really. Dude, this is grim. This is a grim topic. So, trigger warning for people, you know, triggered by self-harm. But I freaking saw that, I don't open X regularly. And I rarely, if I do open it, rarely sit on it very long. Like, I'm not scrolling. But this one day, something felt off. Like, I could just feel a disturbance in the force. And I was like, something's telling me that I got to scroll on X today. And I thought, you know, it was just a silly little feeling. Didn't think it was anything crazy. I was like, you know, I just feel like scrolling on X. Like, I don't do this. I swear I don't do. I swear on my life. I swear on my mother's life. I swear on Quadeca's dead mother's life. I do not do this on typical occasions. But I was like, you know, it's a special day. I didn't know why it was a special day. I just felt like it was a special day. And I freaking saw that Perez Hilton video on my timeline. If you guys don't know about this, don't look. I mean, I guess you can read an article about it, but it's going to make you upset. It's going to ruin your day probably. So if you want to have a good day, don't look into it. But it's a monstrous video that was circulating around the interwebs and fucked up my day. I'm sure many others. And it was only after I saw the video that I saw the other posts saying, hey guys, actually, there's this video going around. Don't look at your time. Yeah, great. Thanks for the fucking help, Twitter timeline. You're a godsend. You know that? You saved me from what would have otherwise been a very, very upsetting experience had I had to have witnessed an individual committing the most heinous acts upon oneself that you can possibly do. That would have ruined my day. You know, you stuck up for me and you saved me from a bad time. I appreciate that for you, X timeline. You're a freaking goat. You know, X is a great place to be. X is really a great place. This is why I don't use it, because it freaking is disgusting. I don't know. I don't like it. Anyway, sorry. Just had to hit a quick couple apologies. There are, a few things that I've said thus far that I forgot to apologize for. Had to make up for it, after the fact, just to make sure that I'm an apologetic person. Which is all performative. I don't actually care enough to say sorry in real life. This is only something I do on video to appear as though I have, the required human empathy to function in today's society. It is a skill that I learned over my many years of being on this planet. I would recommend it to anybody who struggles to fit in their day-to-day life. Anyone who has issues with, people liking them. I would say it's a very, very, it's a viable strategy for sure. I'm just gonna color these teeth. No, I'm not coloring anything. I'm gonna line these teeth like a maniac. I saw this one piece of advice one time a while ago when I was in my youth of artistry. Still in my youth of artistry, I'd like to think. I think I have a long ways to go. I hope it gets better than this. If this is how I'm gonna be, if this is my peak, oof. You know what? Swap me. My address. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I'm joking, guys. Hey, if we can't laugh together about this, about the horrible things that are happening in the world, we're cooked. We need to be able to add levity to dark times, all right? Which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm justifying my horrible joke that I made. It's not funny. I apologize again. I feel like I'm a master apologist. You guys ever feel like that? Wait, does apologist mean something else? Am I using it incorrect? I feel like I'm a master at apologizing. I'll say that. I feel like these videos, if anything, have taught me that once. Like I started these videos in order to practice like my speaking abilities. Little did I know I would only be getting better at apologizing. In fact, I've gotten worse at talking to people in real life. Everyone has turned away. I've been blocked by all my friends. My phone number is permanently blacklisted by every single person in my area. But, I'll tell you what, I can apologize like a motherfucker. Like, Jesus, call me the freaking goat of all time, the way that I am eating up this apology. You know what I'm saying? Chat? You're not a live chat. You can't respond. I'm going to pretend like you all gave me praise just now. Can I pretend that? Can you and I agree that it's okay for me to pretend that? Thanks guys. Thanks so much. King can't draw on you guys are too much. Thank you for the subscription. Yeah, there we go. That was my little role play session of ever having a stable fan base. That's a pipe dream, one that I'm going to continue to believe in for the years to come. Really, I think there's something to be found in a little bit of crazy, not realistic ideas. I think it helps us get through this horrible life that we live by providing us with some sense of stability. in our dreams themselves. If our dreams themselves are not stable, then what does that say about the freaking rest of our lives? Like, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, I get really I get into it sometimes. I start going and you can't stop me. It's one of my greatest qualities. I'm like I'm kind of like the snail Turbo. If instead of racing, he like was really good at talking about things people didn't want to hear. Um in other words, I'm nothing like Turbo, but I really wish people would say I'm like Turbo. I've been waiting for someone to tell me that all my life, actually, since I saw the movie Turbo. No one has yet to come up to me and say you're a lot like Turbo. So a little upsetting. But you know what? Fair. I'm not going to be outraged at the fact that people are not going to lie to me. And you know what? In fact, I'm happy about that. I think it's great. Thank you for not lying, society. Sincerely, Pat Dan. Okie doke. I feel like this is a pretty solid place to be. I'm just trying to add a little bit of extra sauce to it because I feel like it's, a little silly looking in some places. But that's how these things go. We are freaking 40 minutes. Freaking 40 minutes. I have decided something. Okay, I've decided something. You can never innovate if you never do anything different. I used to be the kind of guy to hold myself to silly restrictions like you cannot make a video over 24 minutes long. Like that is the kind of thing I would be telling myself. And I've realized very quickly over the course of my long, long life, if you do the same thing every day, you're never going to find out what it's like on the other side. Is the grass really greener or is it just a trick of the light? Are the cows really fatter or is it just rumbly tummy that's confusing you and giving you false signals? That's the kind of thing. Running. Oh, the washer's finished running. Did y'all hear that? Got to get my clothes out. Anyways, I thought that today of all days would be a wonderful day for a Pat Dan video. I hope you guys are all doing phenomenally. Get outside today, see some sunlight, call your mom, and yeah. If you've enjoyed, of course, our little chat, feel free to drop a like and share any thoughts you may have in the comments down below. In any case, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so very much for your time. I've been Pat Dan. You've been great. Until next time, kick rocks, pal. Bye-bye.